Should have the red marker. That'd be great. It's sort of like we should hack into the Budweiser goal cam,
Oh, that could work.
right? So you know what? Every time you get a goal, the Budweiser thing flashes. So
Yeah.
instead, that's like the New Dad Gaming recording windows. Anytime new dads are recording, you have a light in your house that just flashes. Then you
Live
know
on
to,
air.
then you know to run to your favorite YouTube dispenser.
Just throw the kids in bed. You're like, I gotta get to it. I gotta get to the phone.
I gotta hear about Trevor complaining how hard games are. Oh, you scamp! You can't beat games. Oh, looks like we've propagated around the nation. We'll get this show underway. We are live. The adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old.
Well, more than that, you have a new man of the house.
That's right.
There's a new king in Jeff's domicile, given what he's done to the other two of you. Explain to the good people what happened, Jeff, please.
So, yeah, do I have to really explain it? Like, I just put a picture up on Twitter, and it showed the full story of what happened in Quake Remastered. The 9-year-old beat both myself and his older brother in multiplayer deathmatch.
That's just like, and you were giving a decent effort.
I was trying. Okay,
okay. Let's say it's just us. This is after dark.
Just-
the kids are in bed.
that's right. They're never gonna listen to this, right?
Were you trying as hard as you could?
Yes, I was. I was full tilt, Trevor. I wasn't letting up. I saw the scoreboard, and I'm like, all right, they're winning. Let me just give it a good go and see what happens. Nope. Consistently killed me and doubled my score and his brother's score.
Doubled.
Doubled. Yeah, it wasn't even close.
You got on one of those legendary runs. That's
Oh.
amazing.
Yeah, he knows everything in the level now, and maybe my memory is just going, and I don't know where things are anymore. But knew where the quad damage was, knew where the rocket launcher was, and just cleaned house after that. Like he was getting multi kills everywhere, so it was quite a show, and was particularly happy when the game ended and the scoreboard flashed up on the screen.
That is like so. Okay, there's so much to unpack there. So with Quake, it's really I don't want to say it's unfair, but there's once you get on going and you know where everything is, you can become unstoppable. Like once you get on top, like you get that advantage, it is near impossible to lose for someone who really knows what they're doing. It's amazing that your kid. Did that come from? Did he intuit and just kind of figure out where it was, or do you think he was like studying? And like did he go online and figure out, okay, here's the route you have to take to optimize your damage?
No, this is just a pure sponge-like mind, and just soaked up all the spawn points of where everybody would spawn in, and where the weapons are, and where all the damage stuff was. So absolutely knew where everything was, knew the level like back of his hand. Wasn't a problem.
God.
Yeah.
So he's just a savant, and he hit that like
Pro League, man, I'm telling you.
he hit that perfect mix of like fruit juice and like pizza, just enough grease on your hands, but not too much.
Yeah.
Okay, so you must have been a little bit salty, but I imagine the older son was particularly upset, right?
Yeah, it was more I accepted it. I was like, that's amazing. That is great.
I went through the 7 stages of grief.
Like, I am happy. This is all my doing, right? Like, that's what we're here for. But yeah, the 9-year-old dancing, loved it. 11-year-old was like, yeah, okay, cool. Okay, next match, let's go. Like, did not want like any of it. Just like, let's do this again, because that was no. Like, we need to best 2 out of 3 kind of thing. We need to do this again.
That was just a fluke. Like,
Yep. I'm not. Let's not like we're not giving this any more time than we have to. Next match, please.
So did the Graces go next, or did your little one just keep driving that in, like driving that stake into their hearts?
The next one was closer, but still pulled out a win. So
Oh my god! Oh, that's even worse. Like that's so much worse.
yeah. So like after that, I called it quits just because I didn't want it to escalate. Even not with the winning, but like with reaction from the older brother was just it's you can feel it, you can get it to a point, and you're like, all right, let's back off a little bit, give everyone a breather.
The
But
sibling rivalry, like it's amazing that this game has brought that into it because it would exist a bit, but I think we can all recall a time when there was those sibling
Yeah.
rivalries,
Yeah.
be it with like Madden or Quake in this instance. So it's, it's so refreshing to hear that they could bring this old school game that is just so hyper competitive, simple yet daunting and like advanced, and it brings all those old type of feelings and
Yeah.
competitiveness right back.
You can see it too. It's funny being the parent this time, because you're like, I remember this with my brother. I remember how I felt.
Then you remember-
Okay.
Yeah, then you remember the fist fight that soon preceded. You're like, ooh, I should probably cool down the temperature a little bit.
I remember power plugs being pulled, so I'm like, well, we're never to that point here, but I remember that was back in the day. Was power plug came out of the TV and that was it.
I think I embarrassingly threw some controllers in my day. Like,
I mean, we all slip up.
it's like just the rage. Oh, the rage that would happen. So
Yeah.
that is stunning. That is unbelievable that the little one has taken the throne, and it's
Only going up.
lots of emotions. Because for you, a little bit upset, but mostly pride. For the older brother, that would be untenable. That'd be so upsetting.
Yeah, not the same.
Now, on my side of the fence, I mentioned before, I had been playing Tunic, and but fell off of it a little bit because I was not so much, there was something about the interesting challenges in the puzzles, but also there was a fairly deep learning curve. I don't want to pretend like this is Elden Ring. Let's not mistake it, right? I'm just not that great at games anymore, and I don't have a lot of patience for dedication around punishing games, especially the bosses in this game. It is wild. Like
Yeah.
it is like everything. Some of the battles are that just normal characters, fairly difficult. You get to a boss battle, it is nonsense. Like it just falls off. The difficulty just scales up a mountain immediately. But I mean, the art style is stunning. It's so cool. The puzzle structure and the world and the lore, how everything they're doing. And I'm telling you, if gaming dads haven't seen it, you have to check it out just for the booklet game mechanic on its own.
Yes.
Like the booklet game mechanic, which at first I thought it was more towards just kind of cutesy, but really it's fundamental to beating the game.
Oh, okay.
You could not beat this game if you don't read this manual and try to understand it. So these type of layers like that. And what I'm happy to announce, not even embarrassed, Jeff. What
Okay.
I'm happy to announce is that there's a dad mode.
Oh,
You can
yay.
just flip the switch and you're in dad mode heaven.
Perfect.
So inside, so what I discovered is inside of accessibility, there's two toggles, and one's like no damage, and the next one is no energy loss. Which if you had no damage, it's kind of like unnecessary. Like you already have like what you need to like never die, and it's great. Energy loss every time you every time you roll, dodge, you lose some energy, and then
Okay.
you run depletes and blah blah blah. I cannot in any way describe to you how fantastic and amazing this game is. Like this is now one of the greatest games I've ever played.
because
because-
of dad mode. Because
It just got rid of the barrier for me because it's like, all right, I'm going to spend the month or so it would take me on my very limited game time to get good enough at this game, sharpen my skills to be able to traverse the world in a way that I could get through all the challenges and not have to worry about dying constantly.
right.
And death honestly in this one is enough of a hindrance and bother because you're 6 levels deep and like finally you're kind of getting something. All of a sudden 4 guys come out of the nowhere, kill you. Now you're back up 6 levels and got to do it all again.
Yeah.
So it's not so much like it's not just the fact that it's too hard. I don't want to bother. It's just also to get good enough. I don't want to waste that much time. Like I got other things to play. So just having that move because let me describe how amazing this is now. So I am on the weekend. The kids are asleep. The adult beverages are poured.
I was about to say, I'm like, that's the beginning of our show. That's where it came from. It's honest truth. So
But this is literally it. So like kids are asleep. I am downstairs. The day is done. Everything's packed up and tidied up. The game is on. I have one thing I've really discovered too. I would suggest this for dads as well to give yourself kind of a full experience. Is I have these like big gaming headphones.
Okay. Yep.
So I don't have it running through the speakers because you can't really crank it. But I got these like gorgeous gaming headphones, right? So the house is quiet, everything's dark. I got these huge booming gaming headphones to play these melodic, wild kind of techno
Just
trippy music.
in the zone. Yeah.
I got the beer rolling, and I'm in this game where there's no death or anything. It is just like this slow unwinding of this awesome story in this gorgeous like tilt shift world,
Yeah.
and you're just like slowly uncovering like all the secrets of this like booklet. Like it was gaming dad heaven. It was so goddamn awesome. Like I'm telling you, like I'm in the moment. I'm like, this is like, because what I was sad was when I was struggling with dying all the time. It was just like, I should love this game. Like this is so cool, but like I
Getting
don't.
frustrated and stuff, right?
And especially like at this particular moment, like I have so much work going on and like everything else happening in my life. There's really just not a lot of game time involved.
Yeah.
So not a good mix right now to be taking on the massive challenge, but to have this dad mode and allow me to access this game, get into this game and just in such a calm manner, like it's stunning. Like headphones, beer,
Yeah.
late at night. It's amazing. It's goddamn awesome. It was so, and the sheer shift, the shift of going from being recoiling from the game a bit,
Yeah.
sadly, where it's just like I so badly want to enjoy this thing, but it's just a bit beyond my reach with how much time I can possibly dedicate it to. Oh my god, I get to just throw myself into this and understand the world and the lore. Like it, such I don't want to call it relief, but just joyous. Like so happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally get that, right? Like, and I think you had a similar experience with Hades, right? Just like
Yeah.
something where you would have put it down. Like you would have left that game. Maybe you would have tried a little bit more, but then, time is tight. You can't put in all that effort all the time, or it might be like almost like it's work to do it, right? And this is your moment to kind of just cool down and get into something that you want to enjoy. So having that kind of mode just there from the start, accessible and easy to turn on, turn off if you want, right? Like you could probably just flip it back off.
Yep. Exactly.
You just play at your own pace, and that's what these games are for. Sometimes I think games are just like they become like, let's try to break people. Let's see if we can break them so they complain about it online, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just being fun and giving options for people that need them and options for people that don't. I don't know. Like, who cares? Just they want you to play the game.
Let's just punish people. I'll say too, it was even better with Hades, could be it might be my favorite game ever, honestly. Like when I think back on
Wow.
it.
See? Okay.
Yeah, because I think back on just how much I adored all of it.
Yeah.
Like the lore, the stories, like man, it could be one of the greatest games I've played, if not my favorite. And the fact too with that one, like you got the cheese. We've talked in this game a lot about cheesing bosses and just
Yeah.
when you cheese out a win against a boss you're not really supposed to beat, hide behind the tree, they can't get you, and you're dinging them for like
time.
2 at a time.
Yep.
Well, the whole thing with Hades was it was just every time you die, we're gonna increase your defense by 2%.
Yeah.
So what that did for me in that case is, as opposed to Tunic, which is now just I'm a god amongst men, I never die. This is great. I traversed this gorgeous world with impunity. What happened with Hades was it was the further benefit of I love this world, I love this art style, I love the banter and the writing, but also I'm cheesing it. I get to do one of my favorite things in games, which is cheesing the hell out of it, because every time I die, I get 2%. And eventually I'm going to be 100% and I'm not going to care. And I can't wait.
Yeah, go on, kill me. I dare you. I'm just gonna come back stronger. You'll see
every
me next time.
It's like, sure, maybe you'll kill me this time. And maybe you'll kill me the next 46 times. But
Yeah.
oh, watch out.
Yeah,
After 50 more times, it is trouble for you, my friend.
that's right. Well, like again, like those modes are great for us, and they're great for kids too, right? So my little one would just looking at Tunic now. We had it for a short time with Game Pass, but that expired, so we don't have access to it anymore. But I think they would love this game, but if it's difficult, like you were saying, I mean, they can beat me in Quake, but not necessarily in this one when the game is stacked against you. So,
God,
yeah.
oh, I'm gonna have to try. I never even thought about that. I'm gonna have to try that. I'll have to give this to my kids and see with like God mode turned on.
Yeah.
like how do they feel about it? Like I don't think they'll really understand any of it. Like I don't think this is
No,
something that
no.
they could just beat. But that's the thing. Like if the entire world was just open, if there was like an open mode after you've like done everything, the problem is like there are some traversal parts. Like there's a hook shot. There's a what are some of the other ones? I can't. There's a few items that you have to use to traverse through different parts. I think that's going to be enough to kind of trip them up.
They might surprise you. I watched mine.
True.
Mine. Do Link's Awakening, that remaster. It's kind of like this, I guess, with a tilt shift effect.
Yeah.
And was doing all sorts of things that I did not say anything about. And the game kind of says, "Hey, you have this," but it doesn't really tell you what to do with it. And then there's all those secret areas, and they were finding their way through. Like, I don't know, maybe it's that gaming time that we miss, and they can kind of sink their teeth in and just try
yeah.
things all the time. I don't know. You'll have to
That's
see.
fascinating. Okay, so as soon as I beat it, I didn't see a way to have multiple saves. So I'll wait till I
Oh.
beat.
Oh.
I'll wait till I'm done.
Yeah.
And then we'll pass it along. And we'll see what we do. I'll give it to him because yeah, this style is kind of could get them into that type of Zelda like.
Yeah, I think so.
That could be fascinating. So okay, very good. Now what I would the nice transition here is as soon as this had happened,
Right.
as soon as I enabled easy mode, the very next thing I did was Google search Elden Ring God mode because I have played Elden Ring. Like I played it at a buddy's place. Checked it
Oh
out.
no. Okay.
It's beautiful. Like it's so cool. Like
Yeah.
it's just you want to get into every nook and cranny and see how this game operates, right? But I do not have time to get good enough to play this game. So I was thinking, if a God mode exists where I could just stomp around Elden Ring and check out all its various like treasures and secrets, like I would, God, I can't describe how awesome that would be. I would
Yeah.
so love to just rip around this world without that persistent chance of death. At present, and I'd love to hear from gaming dads if it's otherwise. newdadgaming.com at newdadgaming on Twitter. As best I've seen, there's only a easy mode mod that's quite popular, and that just like it reduces damage by 25 or 50% and gives you more, make it easier to upgrade stuff. So that's kind of there, but that's not enough. I really would want just complete
full
God
safety.
mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, so
Well,
I just want to transition into would an easy mode be of interest to you on Elden Ring, and what is the latest on Elden Ring? Because you are the dad brave enough to traverse into this world.
Well, yeah, like we've been in the conversations online of, it always comes up like, difficulty modes, blah blah blah, right? But honestly, I think this game would be a little bit more accessible to more people if it had those kind of options, right? So if it was somewhat of a god mode or something,
Yeah.
I would love to be in this world, like you said, and just walk around without the threat of something killing me at all times. Like, it is a beautifully well crafted world. Like, every part of it is just artistically done. Like, it's just, you can see the love in it, right? But you're terrified. Well, at least I am. It's not just because, like, oh, I'll die and that's it. It's just like, if you, all that you've collected kind of goes away with you on that death, right? So, and then you restart at your other checkpoint. So it becomes this kind of like palms sweating, like, should I go around this corner? Because there are traps in this game that just, there's no, you remember the old games where you could see like the discoloration on a wall and you're like, oh, nope, that's gonna do something, right?
Run away.
The developers have perfected just melding it into the world itself so you can't see anything, and then all of a sudden a platform will give way and you're dead. So like, those things you kind of laugh at, but then you cry in the corner because you're like, I lost a lot of time doing that. But yeah, I would appreciate some sort of mode like that. I think that would be cool. Again, I think it would bring in more people to kind of see what this world's about and maybe, get used to it. See how the systems work and then go along to the other Souls games, right? Like, that's kind of what you want to happen anyway.
Yeah, I think it feels so. I'm telling you, I can get it. I understand. There's just like some games are phenomenally difficult, and that is the game. The game is not as much as great as the world is, as incredible as the art is, all that awesome stuff.
Yeah.
One of the truest traits of these games is the difficulty. It is punishing and unrelenting. and that is in some ways the whole purpose of it. So I can appreciate that argument of it, but it just it just means that I will never play it. And so that's where it honestly does. I could appreciate the devs not doing it. Well, appreciate maybe the wrong. I could understand why they would not do it because they're speaking to. They know their Elden Ring players. They know who is their character, people who are playing this game and buying this game, and they're laser focused on serving those people. Okay, so I think my opportunity would come from a mod. So I'd have to buy it for PC. And
Yes,
I'd
you
have to
would.
just wait until I can download a hack on the game that just lets me breeze through without dying. And now the one problem would be, of course, that I think there is the online component, right?
Yeah.
Where I think if I get that would suck. What's really unfair? That's not the point. Like I don't care to like mess with other people's players, but the problem with even that mod existing, I could understand it being heavily fought against from the game's perspective because if you take this god mode and you just go mess with other people's games, like that's not fun for anybody.
No, it'll probably be. I think they can ban you through that
Yeah.
way on, at least on PC. So you probably wouldn't access any of the online stuff, which just kind of limits your part of the game, right? Half the fun, Trevor, is having the fear of somebody invading your game at any point and just tracking you down. But also the messages on the ground that warn you about stuff, right? And I found them very helpful, but that's only if you're online. So if you have some sort of mod that's connected, probably not a good idea. And I've actually had friends that I haven't talked to in probably 10, 15 years reach out. See, I message me on PSN and say, hey, you're playing Elden Ring. I'm done it. So, like, let's meet up in game and I can give you a ton of stuff just to
Wow.
get you going, right? Haven't done it yet, but I would love to. And maybe that's kind of the easy mod you're looking for. Like, give me a weapon, like, just one shot anything, right? Like,
The most powerful weapon
yeah.
in the entire game to give me a standing chance.
Right. Or like here's a medallion that just like any damage heals you. Perfect.
That's like
Let's go.
that is fascinating. That is cool. Like the old school connection to old gaming friends you hadn't seen for a while,
Yeah.
and it brought together by shared suffrage. It was so nice.
They know what I'm going through. They're like, I see you're kind of struggling. The trophies aren't very high on your Elden Ring game, so let me come in and help you.
So we'll see where we land. If I could find a path to it, I might consider because I would really love to be in this world. But I, with the online stuff, I think it's a bit dicey and tricky, and it would suck to buy it and then have my
Yeah.
account banned. With again, kind of that's somewhat understandable that they would do so because you have a hack that could really ruin
Still
other
a
people's
story to
games.
tell,
So
though. Still like, oh, I played it and they banned me. I was so good. They
it was
banned
great.
me.
Yeah, that'd be a dad's tale. Back in my day,
That's
got
right.
banned. Shut up, Dad. I'm gonna beat you at Quake. Don't even say.
No, yeah, don't even go there, kid.
Now, throwback to some older games that we liked to used to play, specifically some RTS, thinking back to StarCraft, thinking back to Warcraft, and other such things. You found a bit of a gem, which you'd shared out to our Twitter at New Dad Gaming, that you'd found that scratched a RTS itch in a very good way.
Yeah, the game is Northgard. So I have heard of this game on and off for about probably a year. I'm like, you can never really tell, right? Like,
Yeah.
these kind of games, how deep they are, how actually, like, are they free of microtransactions, that kind of stuff, right? So I am sitting in front of the TV, the family is watching something, my 9-year-old's on the Switch. I'm like, I have so many screens in this house and I still have none to myself right here. So,
Water everywhere, but still no game to play.
exactly. So I'm like, okay, I'll get something on mobile just to kind of keep my gaming attention going. So this was a game that kind of popped up, and it's like one of those premium titles. So you're paying like $9-10, which it is what
Okay.
it is. But it's available on like PC and Switch as well, and it's a cool little strategy game. I say little just because the campaign is about 10 missions. You're kind of done. But it's deep enough and large enough that it does remind me of the old Warcraft 2 specifically, and Settlers, if you ever played that one. So it is a good deep size strategy game. It's got like skill trees and buildings, and like you have to capture zones and stuff. The AI is pretty good. again, like I mentioned, a campaign, but it also has multiplayer, both like against bots or
Nice.
online. And
The
then like,
bots are like the bots are so key. I adore when these games have bots
yeah,
because
yeah,
because you can scale up their challenge however you want, and you just never have to deal with any of the nonsense of playing with other people online,
yeah,
and you can just kind of have that constant replayability. So that is awesome to hear. This
yeah.
is
And
good. This looks great.
it's a cool little game. And again, there's no microtransactions. There are like 3 DLC that you can get for like other tribes or other factions. But it is a cool little art style. I adore like just the land of it. You're like this Viking group that goes in and basically pillage everything that you can. But everybody has like their own little jobs assigned. The interface is really easy on iOS at least. I'm not sure on all the other systems. I'm sure on PC it would be completely fine. But iOS they did their work. Like everything is like legible, easy to get to. I will say like all that is great, but it will drain your battery. So don't have this thing like
You will have a cinder block in your hand of heat. Like just
yeah,
you will have hot coals in your hand very shortly.
exactly. So that's probably like the only, something to watch out for on this. But otherwise, it's a cool little game, and I would totally recommend it. Anybody for like that RTS fix that they want. I was trying to chase like again Warcraft or Age of Empires, something on my phone though, and this one just fit the bill. And again, different platforms for whatever you have available, but I had nothing available, so I was going with the
Screen
phone,
available.
which worked. So I
Awesome.
will recommend it. Yeah, Northgard.
Love to hear it. All right, so gaming dads, if you have a bit of a yearning for a simpler time of dial-ups and
Yeah.
World of Warcraft or StarCraft, sounds like we have a good fit in Northgard. We will check it out. Now, this is what is funny. So you mentioned that you and the whole family were looking at screens one day when you had to dip into your phone.
Right.
However, that was a momentary reprieve because you have fallen into a no screen situation in the household.
Yeah. So I think last episode, we were like trying to take kids off screen. Just they were becoming a little bit too not addicted. I don't think the addicted is the right word, but their attitude and behaviors when they were off screen was not cool. Like they were,
You could almost say obsessive. Like it was just like
yeah,
gaming is like I mean, gaming like is our favorite hobby. Like it's something that we get some spare time. We want to do gaming, but there is a point at which it's like it's the only thing you're ever thinking about, and everything else is a barrier to
yes,
playing the game.
yes. Like they weren't making space for anything else, right? And that's what we had that conversation with. Like it's kind of like getting vitamin D from the sun. Like you just need space for other things, and you can't be running off to play games all the time and then getting so involved and you don't do the other stuff, right? So we like took a break. They could only watch screen if they were invited in. So like we mentioned Quake, they were invited in to play a game with me, but otherwise it was like, go off and do whatever outside, downstairs with your brother, anything, right? That was it. 7 days has been a long time, Trevor.
7 days going on a year. Very cool.
Yeah. It's we kind of left it open to them after a few days to like ask if they could get on it anymore, and it just never happened. So we just let it fly. But I do feel like it feels a little bit longer than what the other days were because they would go off and do their own thing, right? And now they want to involve everybody, which is great. That's what we kind of asked for, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just a change for me too. So I don't know how it's working out with you and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's a lot.
So we had a bit of a scenario because a bit of a scenario recently, and then we're staring down the barrel at something coming up, which will probably make some difficult decisions. So very much the same standpoint where, as we mentioned in the last episode, when they get in trouble, it's not so much that they did something bad, it's that they did something bad, which will result in them losing games. So like that's the immediate call of like, they break something. Am I going to lose my game?
Yeah.
And it's like the problem is you broke something. The problem is not that you're going to lose a game, son. Like we got to get past it. So we recently had to travel down. Like it's a fairly far distance for us to travel to see family. We had like a belated Easter dinner. It's a 6-hour drive. So for that, we like to like pack up the Switch. Like the Switch in the car is a gorgeous dad hack as far as you will get however like an hour or two, whatever you want, of like just silence and dedication so you could just focus on the road and get there.
Yeah.
So we had that, and we want to get it passed. What we are staring down the barrel of, though, is we have a trip to Mexico coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, and
How's that going to work?
now the place where I wouldn't want what I wouldn't want the Switch is on I don't want it at the resort. I don't want it in Mexico because it's, for the love of God, we sprung for this trip. We have beach, we have like a resort, like we have all this stuff lined up. If you kids can't find a way for us to all have just a phenomenal time in the sun, like that's upsetting, right? So because if I have to be on the beach there and hear about going back to the hotel room to play a Switch, that's a problem. I am, however, thinking about the plane ride.
Oh,
like-
yeah.
A plane ride with 2 kids under 6 is like, ugh. Like a Switch would really be nice to keep them focused and like just kind of calm. But we are making the decision, much in that line, that like, look, like beyond our general push now to reduce some screen time to try to get them better focused on, or better balanced with how much they play
Yeah.
and just how they approach it and think about it. When it comes to this vacation, this is very much like, no, this is family, this is bonding, this is an experience, this is culture. So like we're not bringing this with us, because for them to know that it's there is to know that it's possible. And if they just know that it's like this thing does not exist, like this is not in the same country, there are no games, so go on the beach, please.
I am going to hear stories of you in the gift shop, seeing if there's a Nintendo Switch available, under the counter lady, or hey, like, is there a kids club? Because the kids club sometimes has
Okay,
some games.
So that is worrying. Okay, because here's the thing. So the place we're going to does have, the one thing that has that is awesome from a parent perspective, selfishly, is they have like a kiddie pool, a managed like kiddie pool area.
Yeah.
So you can drop them off at this
Right.
like and it's a kiddie pool, and there's like a pirate ship, and it's a whole big thing. That sounds amazing. It sounds so great. But they do have an arcade. Now in COVID times they had it shut down, so I don't know if it's still shut down, which would kind of be a nice cop out.
Yeah, right. You're like, sorry.
It's like, oh no, it's shut down. So I think that'll be the mix. But at the same time, like running around to big arcade machines, and as long as we focus them enough, I'm hoping it's not going to be a problem. We'll
Yeah.
have to see.
I mean,
If I end up running to the gift shop and buying a Switch, that would be.
I just want your vacation to be a vacation, not pulling out your hair and be like, why did we do this?
God,
What's
I just want a
happening?
Switch so bad. I want it for me.
Nintendo.
Airdrop it in, please.
Yes. Yeah, I'll mail you. I'll see how,
Yeah,
I'll
Jeff.
see how fast I can get it out.
Jeff, you need to expedite me one, please. You don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, I'm coming down, buddy. That's the new dad service. I love
New
it.
dad's on the beach.
New dad beaching. All right, we will wrap it up there. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you like the show, you can find us on all the major podcasting networks. So we're talking Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Caster, anywhere where you get your podcast. Just look for New Dad Gaming. If you happen to be on there, what helps us an absolute ton, we've mentioned this a few times this year, we're looking to try to reach out, increase our reach, get it to as many gaming dads as possible. If you can rate, subscribe, and then rate us, it really helps. It really boosts the signal, getting out to as many gaming dads as possible. We'd be forever grateful. And if you reach out to us with a shout out, a call out, something you'd like to promote, happy to mention on the show along with a rating. Now, if you want to get a hold of us, you can find us at our website, newdadgaming.com, and also on Twitter at newdadgaming. So if you have some of your own Quake horror stories when your younger sibling beat you for the first time, if your kid beat you for the first time in such a game, and had to, and the mix of pride and shame
That's right. Yeah.
goes along with that. If you have your own balanced situation where you're trying to find the right mix of gaming with your little ones and outdoors and everything else, making sure it doesn't become too obsessive. As I said, Jeff and I are kind of going through that phase at the moment, so always happy to share stories with fellow gaming dads. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old.
All right. Just because you became a dad.
Does not mean it's game over.
All right. See you next week.
See you on the beach.
Yeah.